Right, here we are, back again. Done a bit more knocking and banging and swearing and mixing, and just thought I would show you something that my cock-ups. When you put hardener in your filler, don't mess about having a quick tidy up, because when you come to putting it on you start running short of time, and we had to rush it. So as you can see, we've got blobs here, blobs there, blobs there. You know, got distracted. There you go. It is not the end of the world, we all know that. It'll all sand back. But it's not nicer when it's smooth to go on. It makes a better job. But it is what it is. Mistakes made, and we're just waiting for it really to go off a little bit. It's just a bit tacky still on the top there, which is not tidy up. But what I want to show you in this bit, I want to show you this beastie. Makita, big sander, more used in the woodworking business. It's a hell of a good sander. Now, it's not the first choice for bodywork by a lot of professionals, but I use it, and why I use it is because of this here, that big large area there. Now that area there, my theory again, spreads the thing over a long way there. You know what I mean? So where we've got this, you know, you can get your little sander, supposed to that. You can do that with that, can't you? Up and down, and what it is. Now with that greater distance there, it averages out a bit more. That's the theory anyway. And I've done it a couple of times, not just on bodywork, on when I've been doing some woodwork as well. You know, when you do some hardwood doors, something like that, where it's very easy to get dips with something like that. So I mean, this has got 6s on it at the moment, which is just you know, for rough sanding and all this lot. But take it down to about a 120 paper, and you can get a nice finish with this. Not a finish, but a nice smooth, even surface with it, and it works very well. If it works on well on sanding back oak doors, which is what I used it a lot for, without having dips in it. Like I say, oak's something you see. At least this is painted over, but it has worked well. So I tend to use this on stuff like this when I'm just trying to get evenness across this roof. And like I explained in sort of part 1 of this video, you know, the few issues, people, you know, this got no strength in it. When they cut this middle section out for the sunroof, it got no strength left. Well, not a lot anyway. It does stiffen up a bit when you put, you know, like a little bit of stiffness in it, which is what I tried before I put this timber in. Just put 2 sheets of timber down and clamped them down, but the clamps were 1 in the way, 2, it wasn't doing a good job. So I had this piece of old chipboard, cut it out, put it up, and it put rigidity back in the roof, so I can sand it, and I can also tap it out. You know, knocking some of the highs down, and it's you know, it's kind of doing me a bit of good. So we're on to this here, and we're going to knock a few of these down again, get it something like. I may even go onto a you know, a finer paper, not sure yet. See how it looks when it's finished, and then we'll you know, have another guide coat set on it and see how it looks then. And if we're there or thereabouts at that will do for this bit, because on top of there, obviously we've got to do a full clean up then, sand back then for the etch work we want to do, which is going to be you know, in the very near future. Can't leave bright metal like this, but we want to get that on actually, and then we're moving away from the filler, and then it'll be you know, depends on how it's looking, it'll be a coat of primer, and then it'll be another guide coat, you know, and this is kind of bit of primer, guide coat, sand, till we get something like what would be considered a good finish on it, and I think that's probably about the best we can hope for, with it being quite deformed to start with. Plus we've got this sunroof which hasn't arrived yet. You know, I ordered it 2 weeks ago from a company down in Leicester. I mean, fair comment, they kind of seem to be the only people that can do them for the GT6, or not specifically, they do the size which fits the GT6, and they did the size which is pretty close to this one. Auto Roofs or something down in Leicester, and I ordered it 2 weeks ago. I had to chase them up on Tuesday morning. No, sorry, I chased them up on Friday last week saying where was it. They promised it me Friday at the latest. The response was it wasn't in. So I'm presuming they don't necessarily make them there, they buy them in, you know. We haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping it's going to be nice. I did want the sunroof putting back in it. I didn't want to fill the hole in. I quite like the idea of a sunroof. But it's not arrived. So I'm kind of a little bit, you know, I would have preferred to have it mounted in there and just see how it pulls the roof around and how rigid it is, etc, etc, before I started me filling and levelling up. But didn't arrive, so it didn't arrive, let's get it right, and we've just got to do it a bit blind, which is a concern. Not over concern, but you know, something that, you know, I just would like to have done. I think it's the right way. But you know, it didn't arrive, and we've had to do this. But like I say, they did promise it me. Promised it me Wednesday at the latest. It is now due for delivery today at 5 o'clock. So let's say I should be finished by 5. So it's Friday delivery and all intents and purpose, isn't it, kind of thing. But funny things that happen, you know. I've used a couple of examples in the past. You know, I ordered some wing mirrors so I could get them mounted up on the doors. Drill all the holes, etc, before it's all painted up, which is the right way. You know, you got to forward think of it. And I ordered them 2 days ago and they've arrived this morning, so you know, some people can get stuff out handy. I'm not saying Auto Roof are down in Leicester there haven't. Obviously they've had to buy it in the same, and they kind of saved me bacon because I've got a hole in my roof and they've managed to provide me with a roof. You know, that's taken nearly 2 weeks, so you know, perhaps I should have ordered that a little bit sooner, you know, because you know, my wife says to me, you know, why are you ordering sunroofs and wing mirrors for? It's not finished yet. I said no, but I've got to drill the holes for these things. I've got to make sure this hole is the correct size. I believe the corners are slightly different on this one, so the guy on the phone explained to me, but I've got material there to cut out, so that's okay. This is why, you know, I wanted it fitting before I started this game, but you know, I'm on holiday this week, so I thought I want to get a sizable chunk of this done before this cold weather comes and makes paintwork a bit of a nightmare. So we've done it, but you know, I've got that. I bought an aerial. I want to put an aerial here on the front. You know, that's got to have a hole drilled in it, you know, so now's the time to do that. A couple of other little pieces I've had to do, sort out, you know, rear bumper mount brackets I've got to drill out, you know, so you know, you got any drilling holes, you know, you've got to be forward thinking all the time. You know, you don't want to be having a nice paint job and then start drilling holes in it. You want to get it painted and sort of, you know, protected before you start doing this. So you know, as you're going through the job, think about things as you're going, you know, what you're going to need, you know, or try and picture the finished vehicle, I think is the right way of saying it. Picture what it's going to look like when you've, you know, when it's all painted up shiny and you're putting the wax on it, kind of thing. You know, you don't want to be messing about then. Now's the time to do it, so pay some time to have a sit down in a workshop sometime and just look over the vehicle and thinking, you know, what you're going to need, you know, what's got to fit where, what have I got to put on first, you know, all this kind of thing. Forward thinking, you know, saves a few disasters towards the end. I mean, a lot of them you can get around, but you know, this is all about trying to make the job as easy as you can, and you know, puts a bit of professionalism into it, doesn't it? Like, and as hobby guys, I think, you know, we like to get well, all the YouTubes I've seen of people, I think everybody's always made an effort to make a good job, and sometimes it hasn't turned out quite the same, but one, they've had a go, which is very commendable in my way of thinking. I hate these people who say, this is no good, that's no good, and I think to myself sometimes, I'll get your bloody arse out there and you make a better job, which is, a lot of them tend to shy away if you say that. But you know, everybody makes a good effort they can, and we all live and learn, and I've seen a few people make a couple of mistakes on things, but they've gone about putting it right the right way, and we've all learned a little bit of lesson by sharing on their mistakes. A silly mistake here of mine, you know, putting hardener in filler. I mean, who's put hardener in filler and then just goes a quick tidy up for a second? You know, you put your hardener in, you mix it up and you slap it on the job, don't you, you know. Obviously make sure, once you've done a bit of sanding, clean your top off again, you know what I mean, don't too much dust on it, you want a nice clean finish to put it on. But, you know, get it mixed up, get it slapped on. Anyway, I don't want to film me sanding because there's no much fun in sanding, plus that, you get the dust everywhere and it all gets over my camera, and it's concerning me, so I'm going to stop filming it for a minute, do another sanding, and you know, I think you can see what I'm doing. I've explained here the way I'm using this big sander. You know, it's got this big surface area and it'll average out the heights better, or it certainly does in woodworking circles anyway. So we're going to give it a whirl, and the proof will be in the pudding, as they say. So I'll get pause video a bit, and we can come back and I can show you where we're up to again. Hopefully it's worked out nicely. See you in a minute. We applied some filler and just give it like an initial sand back, and might just be able to take out there. I've just sprayed over guide coat all over the top on there. I mean, I like to put a bit of filler down first, but I can feel where the lows are on my fingers initially. But now I'm going to I say I've got a bit of filler on it, and now we're going to just sand back the high spots and see where we now need it. You know, the top section there looks about right, the profile's about right on the roof. It's not ideal, but you know, we've got what we've got. Let's go back on here, and you know, we've got to deal with it. You know, things don't always come to us nicely as we'd like them, I suppose, but you know, like I say, it is what it is. We've done quite a lot of tapping back. Everybody knows that, just tap metal back, don't they, with a hammer and a dolly. Very, very light taps. It's very, very thin here, unsupported. You know, hit it a bit too hard and you're knocking it back the other way. So you just gently, not much more than that. A little often, and just keep at it. Don't like give it all just thinking I can get this done a bit quicker. Well, all that does is make a right mess. You know, we've got to be a bit finesse with this kind of thing, because you've got to get it looking right. And you know, it's quite critical. You get this wrong at this stage and you're stuck with it forever. Now, you know, I didn't put anything on top of this roof. I noticed it straight away when I bought it. I thought, well, idiots put that on the top, but you know, these things happen and we've now got to deal with it best we can. So we've done what we've done. I mean, this is something you can't really film this. Well, you can film it, but you can't film it from start to finish. You know, it's going to have to be 1 or 2 videos, this, and heavily edited and all the rest of it, because this is a long, laborious, bit of pain in the ass job, really. But you know, it's right where everybody's looking, and you know, never mind everybody's looking. It's where I'm looking, where you know, maybe you should be looking. You should be your biggest critic, and if you get that way, then possibly you'll always make that little extra mile when it comes to doing something like this. But this is a bit more like filling, seeing where the you know, the highs and lows are, putting thin films of filler on it each time in all the low spots, slowly build it up, and slowly you know, obviously back it off again. Hopefully by the end of it, you know, we'll have a guide coat on top of that, and as we sanding back, guide coat's going to disappear, which is, you know, the theory. You know, shows its level. Now I've got a little paddle here. It's a wide sanding brush, and I use it with some very fine, I think it's 120s, this very fine paper, and all I do is across the top. Not mega, you know, we're not trying to sand it back, we're just trying to sand off the high bits, clean up clean the guide coat off where we're high and expose where we're low. And once we've done that, we can again start building up primer sanding back with the little orbital and start the whole process again. You know, again, you know, professional probably guy, I'd look at this and think to myself, well, yeah, that's there, that's there, that's there. Put a bit of filler back on it, quick was off, job done. Now, I'm not a professional, I just like doing them. So it's a bit more of a case where it takes a bit more time, and I don't mind, time's not an issue with us. So we just do it. I'll get on, I'll give it a quick blast over and just sort of show you the basic motion, and then you know, I'll keep shutting the video down, starting up again when I think there's something worth actually seeing, because you know, once you've seen a bloke doing that 10 times, I mean, what else have you got? That's it, isn't it, you know? So show you the basics. Let's see if we can make sure we get you on the camera about right. Come in a bit closer, I think. Nice and bright there to start with. I'll be around the other side. Turn radio off today. Have you noticed? And we got a stool here. Like I say, all we're doing, literally straight back to get all the highs exposed. Make up the front here, I'm not sure you can see that on the video, but it's the same principle. Looking where we've got, how we've got high, where we've got low. And back round to the side. Away just a little bit. Same thing. You can still see there, checking this side. Well, it's all a bit, well, that bit black there, that's where all the guide coats applied. Now there is a bit of lead under that, which you've got to be careful about, because I've not got my mask on like I should. What you'll see, the blower. Not a bad chest for a week, didn't do me any good at all, does it this? Right, let's kind of get me back on there. Let's blow it off now. Don't need that, do we, for a minute? Right. Right then, I'll bring it off the stand again, try and get a little bit closer. Probably see it better there. Bring it in a bit now. You see where that section is there? That's all showing a bit low there. When you feel it, yeah, just about feel it. It's only a little bit, mind you. Well, as you can see, that's the first set. Bit of a nig in there, what's coming out. A bit low there. Only a bit though, you can see. Not too bad. Coming down this side. Again. Try and get a bit closer to those. I can see a few of these dark patches in there. And all that section there. You can see where it's all a bit, you know, that's slightly brighter. And they show the colour difference. And then we go all that dark shade in there. And that's just where we got some low spots. Now we could get those low spots out by taking that down a bit. Because that feels pretty good there. It's not far off, got a slight low spot there. And a little bit around, a little bit there. And the same on the other side, which I'm actually got battery on charge at the moment, so we're a little bit limited to how far I can go. But you can see what I'm saying, can't you? It's more relevant. It's kind of there. Again, all the clean bits there, and all that dark patch in the middle, or where it says, and a bit low here. So we've got to get on with them. So sand a bit of that back out of there. I think what we'll be doing, because that is definitely a tad low, we're going to build that up. A bit more filler. A bit more around this area. You can just feel it just a little bit there. Just that area there. It's just, as I say, dark around this bit. I'm trying to get my camera in focus. Dark around there. That's not too bad though. That was just a bit where, this bit here is where the lead repair was we did. And I've just put a bit on there and just taken it off. Now that's pretty good, that is. That's from straight from the off. That's really just more than a little filed finish on there. You see where it's there, a little high, a little low. That's not bad, that isn't, for the first thing. You know, just like I say, roughly sanded back, a mild sanding. You can see the marks, and you've got to get the marks out. I mean, most of these marks we fill out by the time we put the etch on it, and you know, all these the build-up primers, etc. All these tiny bits there, the tiny scratches, all come out. We're just looking for a good surface preparation. You know, if you've got dips in it, you know, even with the big high build primers, you know, you'll be struggling to get all that lot out. You know, you want to, at this stage, because you're on bare metal, this is what you want to make sure you're getting as many levels correct as you can. You know, filler's supposed to go straight onto metal, not on top of paint. So, you know, this is the time to put the work in. Get it as close as you possibly can, and you know, obviously at the end of that, when you've got a bit of paint on it, a bit of primer, you can put a skimming and stopper over the top. I've been using Max Mayer, been recommended to me. It's a 2-pack stopper, which, you know, you put on like a paste straight across, smooth it nicely back. Well, if you've got all the surface pretty well there to start with, it only take a lot of doing, is it, like, you know, so that's what we're aiming for. So anyway, I think I can't really say much more than that, so it's time to pause the vid, and I can, there's somebody pointing at it, aren't I? And then we can come back to it when I put a bit more fill on it and done a bit more sanding back. You know, I mean, the time period, it's, how can I say, I'll be wanting a good half hour minimum to get a bit more filler back on here on these areas. You see, because I don't think that's too high. I think that's just a bit low there, and a bit of very tiny kink in that, which we're going to put right. And then, so I say, there's a good half hour, 3/4 of an hour's work there. So we'll not be filming that, me just stood there filling out. So I'll put the video on hold for a bit, and we'll come back and we'll show you where we're up to next.